turf here and get that bad taste out of their mouth. Obviously, Air Force looking to continue their very good history against the Spiders.
With that face-off, we are underway at just a minute past 5:30. So right alongside our scheduled start time on what is just a perfect day, picture perfect. We're just shy of 80 degrees and there is nothing but sunshine in the sky. You get the clouds that just paint the picture, not any that are going to threaten you at all as these teams get set to go to
that we saw in that game. So it's a balanced attack for the Falcons.
You saw Russ Bolt quickly there. His counterpart Rose, who is inside the cage for Air Force, looked like he might have been tested for the first time an instant ago, but it did not materialize. And here come the Falcons once again. They are familiar with this location and familiar with a positive result. They had it on Saturday, and they pick up right where they left off with an early goal here this go-round. So Air Force will strike first. The Falcons, good on the ground ball, good on the attack, solid on the goal. Here's one more look. The work is done in
from coach, and a matchup of a couple of Syracuse natives today with Coach Shamati and Coach Wilson, guys that have gotten very familiar looking over their shoulder at the other bench they've had some really good battles in just a couple of years.
Coach Wilson's career beginning at Princeton in 1995. He helped coach that Tigers team to a 96 NCAA championship, Ivy League championship. Here's the Spiders. That's going to make Coach Shamati happy. He gets his first goal of this contest, and Richmond able to pull on even footing right away. Take another look, and you have to love the footwork here, Phil, that is put together before the shot at distance. Separated by just one. When all was said and done on Saturday, 15th ranked Spiders and this Air Force team trying to make some noise as the 4 seed in the Southern Conference tournament. A reminder, you're going to have another one coming up a little bit later tonight. The 2 and 3 seeds will have their say before all is said and done. It's going to be a busy weekend. The championship on Friday at high noon for whoever wins this and whoever comes out on top between High Point and Jacksonville. High Point, of course, the 2, and Jacksonville the 3 coming into this week's tournament. And there's a second goal for Richmond. Stick in the air in celebration for Richie Connell. That is going to be his 30th of the year. He now joins Dalton Young as a 30-goal scorer for the Spiders, and there's the first lead for Richmond, Phil.
Well, and we were talking about Richmond.
Madonna alongside once again. Here is Madonna. He'll shoot from distance, and that's going to work its way well beyond the cage.
I mean, you look at the goal totals, Jason, that Richmond was able to accrue in conference play. You go back to March and game at Bellarmine, win versus High Point, Jacksonville at Mercer, just racking up some really strong offensive numbers. Then Air Force comes in here and holds them to 8 goals.
Well, here's another, not holding them down to this point. Brett Randall able to pour one in. For Randall, that is his 5th of the season, and he becomes the 3rd difference scorer among the initial 3 goals for Richmond. We saw Ryan Lanchbury involved, tried the wraparound, didn't work out for the leading scorer, one of the leading scorers on this squad, but it does for Brett Randall. He has his. Be very impressed with what his team has put together. Think about the 6-5 record, the 5-1 conference mark, regular season champs once again in the top 20 in the country. Because of that, it has looked a lot like that this season. Dalton Young, 33rd goal. That's the team leading mark for Richmond.
And top 20 in the country as well. 24 of those goals, Jason, coming in conference play. The freshman, Richmond's first ever rookie of the year in the league. Not just one of the conferences themselves in this one, but as we said, Russ Bold and his defense in front of him, of course, anchored by the defensive player of the year in Mingus, just made life awfully difficult.
No trouble clearing for Air Force, but then attempting to get something set up from X, working from behind the cage there. And here's a distant shot that will pay, and it's Grandolfo for the first time today. 22nd goal of the year for the Air Force leading scorer, and it cuts it to 4-2.
You know, we talked about consistency earlier with Air Force, and that has been what Ethan Grandolfo has brought for the Falcons this year, Jason. He's put up points in all 11 appearances this season and has scored a goal in 10 of those games.
To end up notching his third save by turning away that effort from Cap.
And he's going to have to continue to do that, as we said. Had 45 shots fired at him in the regular season meeting, only allowing 9 goals. You know they're going to keep coming if you're Rose, a guy who stepped in, Jason, at one point in the year and has just been tremendous.
As we said, Rose now back there coming in 257 plus, and there's another for Air Force. That was with force. I mean, not to be denied. Intent is one thing, delivery another, and here is Air Force pulling within 1 now as they put together a couple of goals. They get the main scorer involved and Grandolfo an instant ago, and now here is Ward with his 12th of the season and already putting together a multi-goal performance for the academy here in the semi. On the defensive side, you know we got to talk about the football lines out there with Vince Lombardi coming up and putting that effort together.
He would have liked that tackle.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Here's Richmond staying with it and staying with it to the point of pay dirt. Dalton Young with another. Spiders going to create that little bit of breathing room once more.
There is a flag down.
Let's see if this
what that is.
Yep. Down at the 20-yard line, right? In terms of keeping with that theme with Lombardi making his presence known a moment ago.
Boy, how quick is Young, though? I mean, that was just such a fast attack from him as you take another look.
And you think, you know, we talked about Lanchbury a moment ago. Here's Young, who overall shots advantage at +3, and you can see the good work that has been done. 6 saves already notched by the 19 most outstanding player in this tournament, the keeper for the Richmond Spiders, Russ Bolt.
If you're Air Force, just trying to continue to play that good, strong defense, and I feel like momentum is kind of up for grabs in these last 3 minutes, Jason. Richmond really had a chance to seize it if they could have capitalized, but they make up for it here. What a job to
Lance Madonna,
man,
able to find the back of the cage. Madonna, the latest to score. Lance Madonna now joining Jeff Nugent, Brad Randall, Richie Connell, and the 2 goals of Dalton Young, and he becomes the lead. Those opponents have been along the way. 452 shots to 374. That's the shots advantage Richmond holds, despite that murderer's row that the Spiders have played along the way. Here's a late first half goal. In fact, with just a couple of ticks remaining, Connell becomes a multi-goal scorer on the night.
You think that Coach Shamati drew that up in the timeout? He's done that a couple of times in his career. Tremendous execution with just very little time left. You're probably thinking Dalton Young is going to take it himself. Great work behind them. It's been great to see. It's privilege and great to see this championship take place after no 2020 tournament, of course.
An absolute pleasure to be here. You're exactly right. This is going to be closed up and continuing to stick check. Just doing great work back there. The grouping for Air Force initially, but relentlessness will pay off for Richmond. The Spiders going to add their latest goal. Big gap between the 2 most recent. But how about the work Lanchbury did? He kept chipping away, kept chipping away, kept chipping away. We said there was going to be a point at which, and his father played lacrosse at Hampton-Sydney. So this is another one of those, and it's so often true with this sport, family affairs in terms of growing this young man up in the sport. You see how it pays. And here on the other end, Richmond makes it count. Well, it may have taken Ryan Lanchbury a little bit to get going, but he has Richmond's 2 most recent scoring as he now makes it a 9-3 Spiders lead. 2 goals from Lanchbury give him 26 on the season.
Starting to think Saturday was maybe a little bit of an aberration. Richmond back to their old selves here this afternoon.
Victory. The Falcons have now made it an even 7 in terms of face-offs won. That's the thing we talked about at the half. What needs to happen for Air Force? They were down in face-offs. It was a +3 advantage in that category for Richmond, something that Air Force had handled in the prior meeting on Saturday. They've taken care of that, winning some face-offs, but what they haven't been able to do is slow the scoring of the Spiders.
I go back to that.
And here it continues. Another goal. It's Connell again. The hat trick for Connell, and Richmond does something neither team was able to do on Saturday. Get to double digits in scoring. It's now 10-3 Spiders.
They're officially clicking now. They're obviously frustrated on Saturday and not being able to really click offensively, but you just saw some Air Force. We talked about the face-offs. They've been able to hang pretty tough in that category, but no early goals to give them any type of momentum. All Spiders here in quarter 3.
One final look perhaps coming right here for Air Force. The initial one turned away, but there's a goal with 0.4 on the clock inside a half second. Air Force is able to pour in the 4th goal of the contest. Well, that's using the entirety of the 3rd quarter, Phil, and it's on the rebound look, on the second look here, that Air Force is able to get it in. Watch this, turned away initially, but then put back by
the other offense to this point. An impressive goal from well out, finding an alley. I don't know if Ward can bring him back on his own, though. You have to feel like somebody else for Air Force, if maybe it's a committee, steps up. There's a good start.
Well, here's the latest to join that committee. Brandon Krause had fired away early and often in this contest, but this is his first goal of the night, his 14th of the year. So Brandon Krause joins Grandolfo and the hat trick of Ward, and suddenly Air Force has now half the total of Richmond. It sits at 10-5.
It was Richmond that had to make the comeback.
Cast becomes involved the way we just saw Krause become involved there with his 14th of the season. It could get interesting down the stretch.
You'd love to see Payne get involved, O'Rourke do something. If Air Force is going to do it, you feel like that's how they are going to do it, is by committee. It won't continue to be a Ward. Maybe he may have to score 1 or 2 more, but that's how Air Force has done it this year.
Richmond looking to stop the run. It will end right here. Who else but Richie Connell? Give him 4 in the contest and 33 on the year. He's now 1 off the pace of Dalton Young, who has scored 2 in the contest and sits at 34. So 4 of them from Richie Connell, and this one as important.
Emotions and intensity flowing, the discipline that you see, obviously, that they have to show on a day in and day out basis. You just get back up, dust yourself off, even down in a disappointing result, a game that's not going the way you want it to. You still don't retaliate in a way that's not right.
Well, we covered the Southern Conference in all sports for years, and the utmost respect, the utmost level of appreciation for everything these young men represent out of Colorado Springs. And you're right, Phil, especially with the frustration of the night. Here it is 11-5 inside a couple of minutes remaining, and we saw it get intense a little bit ago. This is a rivalry. It's become a very real rivalry in this conference. But you love the sportsmanship that you do see in certain moments as well. And like you said, you love the composure. Always love the composure you see from the academy, regardless of the scenario. Still fighting, still digging, and here's the latest of the goal there when you talk about this young man. And father played football at Kent State, so you talk about toughness, you talk about athletic ability and background. He certainly has had quite a night for Air Force. Going to come up on the short end of this one, but put together a solid performance. And this Richmond team, the top seed in the tournament, in the end, Phil, just too strong. So many different scores they can come at you with, particularly that trio of Connell, Lanchbury, and Young, who between them were responsible for 8 of the 11 Richmond goals in this contest. 4 from Connell, 2 from Young, 2 from Lanchbury, and 11 on the board in an 11-6 win for the homestanding Spiders of Richmond. They advance to take on the winner of tonight's ladder semifinal. They're back in the SoCon championship game again here in